Happy morning, children. Welcome to Blue Stars High Secondary School online classes. Today, your class is for English and your subject is okay. And for ninth standard, we are going to see English poem today. Before getting into the class, let me give you the thought for the day. Okay, so today's thought for the day is to appreciate the beauty of a snowflake. It is necessary to stand out in the cold. Okay, so which is if you want to understand one situation, you have to put yourself in their situation. Okay, only then you can understand anyone's situation. Okay, so you have to be always friendly and understandable with everyone. Okay, children, now let's get into the class. Today I told you you are going to see a poem. Okay, so what's a poem name? Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Okay, it's a memory poem actually. This poem was written by Robert Frost. Okay, so here stopping by woods. So woods refers to the forest. Okay, with more number of trees, isn't it? On a snowy evening. So what does a snowy means? Snowfall will be there, isn't it? So stopping by woods on a snowy evening is the title of this poem. And who is the author? Robert Frost. So we just see some glossary. These words you will come across in this poem, and let me give you the meaning for these words. The first one is cure. Okay, cure is strange or odd. You know, strange, isn't it? Something different. Yeah. Woods. Woods means a forest or a place with more number of trees, we can say. Harness. Harness means straps by which a horse is fastened to a cart or cartridge. Okay, so here harness means we can just say like we'll be holding the horse, isn't it? Just to ride the horse, we'll be holding it through some straps. That is harness. Frozen. Frozen is in ice form. Okay, the ice form of the water we say is frozen. Okay. Sweep. Sweep means to move swiftly and smoothly. Okay. Downy. Downy means soft and fluffy. You know how the snow looks, isn't it? It will be very soft and fluffy. Flake. Flake means a small piece of snow. Okay, flakes. You just say no flakes. Yes. So about the author, I told you who is the author. Author is Robert Frost. Okay, so just see here, Robert Frost. He is Robert Frost. He was born on March 26, 1874 at San Francisco, California. Okay, so what is the title he has given? He was an American poet. He was noted for his realistic description of his rural life. Okay, so he spent almost 40 years without, 40 years as an unknown entity. Okay, he was not known by many until he was 40 years. Okay, then he won the Poet Laureate Award, and then some of his notable works are The Road Not Taken, Mending Wall, Storm Fear, The Death of the Hired Man, North of Boston, A Boy's Will, etc. Okay, and he was an American poet who was much admired for his depictions of the rural life of New England. Okay, so his command of American colloquial speech and his realistic verse portraying ordinary people in everyday situation. Understood? So his spouse is Eleanor Miriam White. Okay, he was awarded the Bollingen Prize and the Pulitzer Prize. Understood? And Frost became the poetic force and the unofficial poet laureate of the United States. Okay, children. And he just died on January 29, 1963 at the age of 88. Jawaharlal Nehru, the former Prime Minister of India, had the last two lines of this poem written in block letters and placed it on his desk as these lines reminded him of his responsibility. So such a wonderful poem it is. Okay. So let's get into the poem. This is the poem. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Okay. So let me read this poem once. Just listen, all of you. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmer's near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. These woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep, by Robert Frost. Okay, this full poem, the entire poem is written in allegory form. Okay, allegory is a type of figure of speech, the way in which the poem is written. Okay, so why is allegory means? The poem has a surface meaning which is different from the literal inner meaning. Okay, so like overall if you see, it looks as if it is talking about only the woods, but deep inside it has a different meaning. Okay, inner meaning is different. That is why we say it is a allegory form. Okay, now let's get into the stanza 1 and we just see the first stanza. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. Okay, so the poet asks, whose woods these are, I think I know, which means the poet is just passing through this forest, okay, during a snowy evening, and on seeing this beauty of the forest, he just stopped there. Okay, he just see the beauty of the woods, and he was just stopping there, and he was just wondering the beauty of the woods. Okay, and he just thinking that he knows whose place this belongs to. Okay, his house is in the village, though. So he says the owner of this place, the owner of this area, the woods, his house is in the nearby village. He is not staying in this woods. His house is in the nearby village. Okay, he will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. So he will not see me stopping here means why he will not see me stopping here? Because the poet says the house of this owner of this place is in the nearby village. So no one is here to see when I'm just passing this snowy wood. Okay, so to watch his woods, I'm just standing and wondering and admiring the beauty of this woods which is filled up with snow. But here nobody is stopping me because the owner is not staying in this wood. His house is in the nearby village. Understood? So the poet says, I know, I think I know whose place is it, whose woods these are. Okay, and the owner of this house is not here, he is in the nearby village. That is why he will not see me if I stop here and I just admire the beauty of this place. Understood, children? Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. Understood these 4 lines? Now just see the rhyme scheme is no, though, here, snow. So just see no, though, snow. All sounds same. Okay, always give the first line as A. Okay, always you have to give the first line as A of the stanza. Okay, the first line of each stanza. Now see the last word of the second line, no, though. It sounds same, isn't it? So we are giving this also A. Now see the last word of the third line, here. No, though, here. Does it sound like no and though? No, it sounds different. So we are giving it as B. Okay. Now see snow. No, though, snow. Does it sound same? Yes. So again, I'm giving this as A because I have given no as A. So I'm giving snow also A. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, A. Do you understand this now? And just see the rhyming words no, though, and snow. Okay. And now alliteration. Alliteration means just see in each line. Okay. In each line, if any consonant is repeating, you know, consonant and vowels, isn't it? Just see whether any words are repeating with the same consonant. It has to start with the same consonants. The first line you can see whose woods. Okay, whose woods. So this starts with W. So it's an alliteration. Okay, then just see here his house. Okay, H. It starts with H. It's an alliteration. And just see here C stopping. So yes, it starts with yes, it's alliteration. Then see here watch woods. It starts with W and again it's a alliteration. Understood, children, what is alliteration means? Now, hyperbole. Hyperbole is you're just exaggerating. Okay, just telling more about what is actually there. Okay, to watch his woods fill up with snow. Okay, so you cannot imagine, no, that it's the woods are completely covered with snow. That you cannot even imagine. But the poet is just exaggerating the situation here. Okay, so exaggerating. Okay, just telling more about it. Actually, the more than the actual thing, just telling more about is exaggerating. Okay, so hyperbole is to watch his woods fill up with snow. We say in Tamil, no, மிகைப்படுத்தி சொல்றதுன்னு சொல்லுவோம். Okay, so hyperbole is like just telling more about it. Understood, children? Okay. Now let's go to the second stanza. Sorry. Before that, let me ask you some questions. Okay, so question time for you. Where did the poet stop? The poet stopped in a wood, right? Where did the owner of the wood live? The owner lived in the village. What does he refers to? He refers to the owner of the woods. What did the poet realize? The poet realized that he knew the owner of the wood. Whose woods these are, I think I know, isn't it? From that line, the poet realized that he know the owner of the wood. Identify the season. What is the season? It's a winter season. Understood? Clear all this? Question and answer. Now let's go to the second stanza. In this stanza, just see here, my little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. So here, my little horse must think it queer, which means the poet is riding on a horse through the woods. Okay. And now queer means we just saw in the first glossary, isn't it? It's very strange. Okay, the horse is feeling very strange. Why? Because usually the poet will stop if there is any farmhouse, but here the horse could not find any farmhouse, but still the poet is stopping in between the woods. That is why the horse was confused, because it was very strange for the horse to stop without a farmhouse. Understood? That to where they're stopping? Between the woods and frozen lake. Just imagine this. So one side was completely fully dense forest. Okay, woods are there. On the other side, the frozen lake, the lake which is completely in an ice state. Okay, so between the woods and the frozen lake, at which time the poet is just crossing this place? In the darkest evening of the year. Okay, so because why it is darkest evening? Because it's a winter season and it is very dark. Understood? So see here, my little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. Understood, children? Yes. So now the rhyme scheme is A, A, B, A. Just see here why A, A, B, A. Square, near, lake, year. Okay, so just see, rhyming words are cure, near, and year. So we are going to give the first sentence as ye. Sorry, first line as ye. Cure and near. Does it sound similar? Yes. So I'm going to give second also ye. Now see this lake, square, near, lake. Is it same? No, it's different. So it's B. Okay. Now cure, near, year. It sounds similar. So I'm going to give this as A again because I've given A for this. So I'm going to give this also A. Okay. So this rhyme scheme is A, B, A. Understood? Now, personification is the figure of speech employed in these lines. My little horse must think it queer. Okay, the horse is feeling very strange, but will a horse feels very strange? The feeling of strangeness is something which is exhibited by humans, isn't it? So here the horse is compared, it's personified as a human. That is why it's personification. Okay, this line is personification. Understood? This meaning of the stanza and this poetic analysis is clear for you children? Okay, now we have our question time. Who is the speaker? The poet is the speaker. Yes. Why should the horse think it queer? Just tell me without seeing the answer. Why it queer? Because it is strange for the horse to see the poet stopping by a place where there is no farmhouse. Do you understand this? Yeah. Where was the poet standing? The poet was standing between the woods and the frozen lake, isn't it? What was the time? It was evening time, the darkest evening of the year, isn't it? It was evening time. Okay, now let's go to the third stanza. Here, see here, he gives his harness bells a shake. You know, no, the harness you'll be having, no, the horse will be having in the straps. It will be having some bell like thing, no. So it can just shake and it can just give some bell. Why it is shaking the harness bell? Because to ask if there is some mistake. Because the poet is stopping in near the woods where there is no farmhouse at all, which is very strange for the horse. So the horse is just shaking his harness bell to ask the poet whether something is wrong there. Okay. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Okay. So what is this? The only other sounds the sweep means of easy wind and downy flake. Okay. Here the poet could not hear any other sound other than the horse harness bell sound. Okay, except the horse harness bell sound, he could hear the gentle sound of the wind and the flakes of snow that falls on the woods. Okay, so the blowing, no, the wind is blowing and the snow is also falling down. Very minute sound it will be, isn't it? So only that sound the poet could hear apart from the sound of this harness bell. So it was such a a very pleasant evening it was. Okay, so just see here, he gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep, which means only sound he could hear. Okay, the poet could hear other than the harness bells is of easy wind and downy flake. The sound of the wind and the falling of the snowflakes. Only that sound he could hear apart from this bells, sound of this harness bells. Understood, children? So see here the rhyme scheme. We just see here. So for the first line, A, shake, okay? So mistake, shake, mistake, same. So A. Sweep is different, so B. And this one, flake. So it is again A. So what is the rhyming scheme? A, B. What are the rhyming words? Shake, mistake, and flake. Now, alliteration. Do you remember? in the particular line, the words has to start with the same consonant sound. Okay, the consonant letter, isn't it? So see the first one, he, his, harness. All these words start with H. Okay, so it's an alliteration. Now, you see in the second line, no, we don't have anything. Now, just see in the third line, sound and sweep. Both start with yes. Okay, so it is alliteration. Understood? Now, metaphor. Metaphor means like comparison. Okay, just making a comparison. See, he gives his harness bells a shake. Understood? So he gives his harness bells a shake, which means he is just compared to a human and he's just doing the action. Okay, so he's just giving the harness bells a shake. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. Okay, so the poet just says the horse is asking him if anything is wrong. So the horse is just compared to a person here. Okay, and he's just see here, he gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. Understood? So it's just compared, and it's a metaphor. Okay, metaphor means just like a comparison between two things. Okay, I hope you understand this stanza 3. And now let me ask you some questions. Whom does he refer to? The horse is referred to in these lines. Okay, he refers to the horse in these lines. Okay, why does he gives his harness bells a shake? Just tell me. The horse wants to check whether anything has gone wrong with the poet, isn't it? That is why he's just shaking his harness bell to ask the poet. Now, how does the horse communicate with the poet? The horse shakes his head and makes sound of his harness bell, and he communicates with the poet. What sound was it? It was the sound of the sweeping wind. Okay, it was sound of the sweeping wind. Sweeping wind means the wind which is blowing. Okay. What was falling down? Snowflakes were falling down. Okay. Downy flake, isn't it? Downy flake means, yeah, it says falling down. Snowflakes were falling down. Do you understand this, children? Now let me go to the fourth stanza. Okay. See the fourth stanza here. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Here, the woods are lovely, dark and deep. Okay, I admire the beauty of this place and I enjoy being here. But I cannot stay here for a long time because my life's responsibilities are waiting. Okay, I have to complete all my life's responsibilities. I cannot just while away my time admiring the beauty of nature, but instead I have to go and take my responsibilities because I have to travel a long distance before I sleep. Before I sleep means before I die. Okay, so here this sleep refers to death, and this promises refers to the life's responsibilities. Understood, children? So the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep, by Robert Frost. So I told you, though the woods are very beautiful, lovely, okay, very deep, they're very dense, I can admire it, okay, always, but I cannot stop here for a long time. I have to go and take care of my responsibilities because I have to travel a lot. I have to, my life's responsibilities are more, and I have to complete everything before I die. Understood? So, and miles to go before I sleep. The poet is just telling this twice. Okay, you can just see here the last two lines. The poet is repeating twice, isn't it? And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep, isn't it? Why the poet is just repeating this last two lines? Do you have any idea? Yeah, the poet is repeating this because to stress that he cannot stay in the woods anymore. He has to return back to his place because he has a lot of things to do. That is why he's just stressing this last two lines. Okay, I hope you understand this stanza also. Now tell me the rhyming scheme. So here deep, sorry, here deep should be here, okay? So deep, dark and deep, keep, sleep, sleep. So ye. Rhyming words, deep, keep and sleep. Alliteration, dark, deep. Okay, that's all. And here, repetition. You can just see here, and miles to go before I sleep and miles to go before I sleep. This line is getting repeated twice just to stress the importance. Okay, so here it is repetition. Understood? And miles to go before I sleep. And symbolism. Symbolism means not the direct meaning, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. Here I told you, promises refers to the life's responsibilities and sleep refers to the death. So symbolic representation of the words are given here. So it is symbolism. Understood, children? I hope you all understood the poem. And now just see the question time. How are the woods? The woods are very beautiful, very dense and quiet. Who does I refer to? I refers to the poet. What are the promises the speaker is talking about? The speaker is talking about the worldly commitments he has to fulfill. Why has the poet repeated the last line? I told you now. Why did he repeat? To stress the fact that he cannot stay anymore in the wood but has to return to his own place as he has his life's responsibilities. He repeats the last line. Okay, do you understand everything? All the questions and all the stanzas are clear for you. It's a memory poem, children, so please understand and learn. Okay, you just see the mind map of the poem. So this poem was written by Robert Frost, isn't it? So just see, he traveled through dense forest. He was enchanted by the beauty of woods. He was very much attracted by the beauty of woods. He stopped there to admire it. The horse was puzzled of the halt. Okay, so for the halt means stopped. Shook his harness bell as a reminder to go. Okay, just shook his harness bells. The poet, captivated by the beauty of woods, started moving to travel a long distance. Why he started moving? To fulfill many promises, which means to carry out many duties. He had to fulfill his promises before his death. So this is what the poem is about, the mind map of the poem. Okay. Okay, children. So here is the summary of the poem. You can just read it once and understand it. Okay, fine. Now the assignment part, learn and memorize the poem. Okay, and then learn and write the questions which you had in the question time and the summary in your classwork. This is your assignment for you. Okay, yes, do it sincerely, children. Thank you. Have a blessed day.